She-Hulk. Yeah, just off that alone, you can make an idea off what everyone else has seen. She-Hulk, from its announcement, was practically doomed. Given the current state of Marvel and its idea of branching out into shows for continuing its spew of shit, She-Hulk has fallen victim to the low quality and rushed hell of bad Marvel shows. The last good thing that came from Marvel was Infinity War, and everything that came after was a slippery slope that wasn't so slippery and rather just a straight drop into fucking hell. The shows that came from Marvel haven't exactly been good, given the fact that after Infinity War, they had gotten rid of all the good characters that made Marvel even worth watching in the first place, and had replaced them with lesser-known shitty versions of themselves who are diverse and so much more commendable. That was a bit off tangent right off the bat, but you get the idea where everything has gone to shit. So with Phase 4 ending, we have She-Hulk, the last piece of media for Phase 4, a show about female lawyer Hulk, who's the cousin of our Bruce Banner, the mighty and unstoppable Incredible Hulk. Well, not so mighty anymore, since after Endgame he's been neutered like a dog and serves as a worse side character for other people's movies, and in this case, his own cousin's show.
Cool? Bruh.
Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's talk why She-Hulk was doomed from the start. First and foremost, we need to discuss the direction given to the show, because a show where our main protagonist is going to be CGI all the time needs to be able to look good and not look like shit. You tell me how that went. Next, the show needs to have a story, something for viewers to get themselves invested in and care about whether it's serious or not. So She-Hulk, being a fairly popular comic book character, finally getting her own adaptation, you want to give her a decent writer for her comedic show. Then you get this inexperienced fanfic writer who only started last year. But surely she's fine and won't be awful. This isn't her first project, so of course her first comedy was a magnum opus. Yeah, she had no hope to begin with. Doomed, you could say. She-Hulk costed a grand total of $75 million for only 3 episodes. Deadpool, that film alone costed $58 million. They had no issue with cost like most low quality shows or movies, where part of the quality was from a fault of lack of money. The entire series was overpriced and wasted all of that money on nothing because of the cheap effects. Another issue they ran into was time. Filming only started in April of 2021, just for the first episode to come out in August 18th of 2022, giving them just a little over a year to film, edit, subtitle, and produce this show. They can have all the money in the world, but it can't buy them time. Speaking of these issues, they had to reshoot the show because it was so shit before that, and these reshoots just started 3 months later after the initial shooting. The model of She-Hulk was done with actor Malia Araya, something like that, who is a very tall 6'5", just shy of She-Hulk's actual height, and is very perfect for the modeling of her. The actual on-screen actor, Tatiana Maslany, whatever the hell, is an experienced actor who has had several films and shows, so she can carry a show for herself very easily, you'd imagine, but her actual on-screen acting is subpar at best, really. There's also several other guest actors joining once in a while, with Abomination from the original Hulk film starring in it, and even Daredevil, of all people, who only got brought in because he is a superhero lawyer like She-Hulk. But unfortunately, they're being written in the hands of an incredibly inexperienced writer who gets to make decisions that really affect characters. So Daredevil got some pretty bad treatment.
Morning.
I mentioned what goes on in the show a lot, but I'm not going to make a deep dive dissecting scenes or going episode by episode to explain how much of a dumpster fire it really is. If I went in detail for every episode, going over how much shit doesn't make sense, how much stuff is unfunny, oh yeah, this was supposed to be a comedy, but it's really not, and how much of a pedestal the writer tries to put She-Hulk like she's amazing and the best character ever, only to be criticized as one of the worst characters ever, The production sort of speaks for itself on why She-Hulk was doomed from the start. A short production time, a terrible pick of a writer to dictate how this story would go, poor character handling, reshoots that made short time they were given even worse than before rushing them, awful effects on She-Hulk CGI, poor comedy, and mediocre acting. With all this in mind, heed my warning to never watch She-Hulk. It's a true threat to humanity and serves as a warning to what the rest of Marvel could turn to, and what it will. Maybe in a week I'll talk about Black Adam that's just about to come out. Maybe it'll be shit, but the one is in, and that's about it really. Not much sticks out from Black Adam's trailers, but maybe it'll be at least average. And I'll make a video discussing whether if it was or wasn't bad. And with that, this was why She-Hulk, attorney at law, was doomed from the start.
It's weird you guys are still here.